Welcome to the Nest Podcast, your home for nerd entertainment and sports talk, where your hosts, Brandon and Zach, hash out what's happening in video games and sports every week. Enjoy the show!
Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is episode 62, the Jim Langer episode, presented by Sportszilla. I'm your host, Brandon. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Zach and Justin. Fellas, what's going on?
Howdy.
What's up?
Howdy. You been playing Red Dead again, Zach?
Speaking of the devil, I did play that a couple days ago.
No kidding. You came at me with a howdy, I assume so. Suddenly, Zach is transposed back to 1899 Texas.
Mm-hmm. It's a great game. I missed it.
Oh, it is a great game. I've revisited it several times since beating it. I just actually went back and beat it for a second playthrough not long ago so that I could go and do all the stuff in the Southwest with John Marston.
Yep. It's kind of a shame that they don't let you explore that with Arthur.
Yeah, it is. But it gives you something to do as John. And that's exactly what I thought as I was playing through it that second time was, I didn't do this after I beat the game the first time because I was so bummed that I wasn't Arthur anymore. But now that I intended to do this, it's like there's actually a little bit more cool shit that you can do. Like you can finish the dinosaur bone collections.
Yeah.
All the legendary fish and legendary animals are also in the Southwest. So to complete all of those sets, I guess. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We talked about Red Dead last year at this time. This year at this time, we're talking about football. And guys, this past week, it was upset central, both in college and pro.
Oh yeah, it's been a great weekend.
Justin, what was the weekend what was the upset that shocked you most?
The biggest upset would have to be Georgia and USC.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean South Carolina, not it's USC, the Trojans, but
I knew what you meant.
What was crazy is, USC, instead of punting the ball away, basically Georgia had about 5 opportunities to win this game. South Carolina kept messing up. They go for a long field goal, giving Jake Fromm almost a minute to get 30 yards for the best kicker in NCAA history to kick the football. So it was a 58-yarder, I think, and his high was a 55-yarder. But for some reason, coach didn't let him try for it. He took it to overtime, and then lo and behold, he shanked a field goal in overtime to lose the game. You gotta let you're the best kicker in the league. You gotta let him have a chance to win it in regulation.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm guessing that would be one of the talking points coming out of Georgia this week is, the coach fucked up not giving the guy the chance to win the game or to tie the game.
I mean, it was only like 3 yards off from his long. I mean, and usually when somebody makes their long field goal, it's usually got a few yards left. You've never seen, very rarely does it hit the goalpost and like bounce over. That's as far as you can go.
Did you ever see the old highlight of the long standing record of the NFL 63-yard kick? There was like the guy with half the foot that did it. I can't think of his name, but if you go back on YouTube and watch the clip, the ref like squats down and looks up because it barely goes over the crossbar by inches.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy highlight. I mean, a dude with a half a foot set the record for the longest field goal for the longest time.
I wonder if that helped him out. Like instead of having to, point his toe and all that stuff, he just swung his whole leg and it was like a club.
That's exactly what he described it as. He had a custom made shoe that was a flat surface on the end, and it was more like a big flat surface striking the ball instead of all the guys at that time were just using the toe of their shoe. That was before the evolution of the soccer style kicker.
Mm-hmm. I know my cousin Jackson. He's got new Facebook post yesterday where he kicked 2 or 3 55-yarders back to back to back. So you mean to tell me that this kid can't kick a 58-yarder? I call BS. He should have, even if he missed it, dude. They were going to overtime regardless. I just don't see, like, how rare would it be for them to block it and run it to the house? I mean,
Yeah.
you got a better chance of your quarterback or somebody getting hit and the ball coming loose. I mean,
Either way, they lose the game.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But
this is the second week in a row where a big powerhouse team has lost to an unranked, what should have been blowout team, which is very interesting. And everyone, I think, this season thought that Georgia was a dominant force. So
that's what I was going to say. Georgia was hovering around the top 4, being talked about one of the final 4 playoff teams. Some people even had them in that national championship game. They dropped to 10th after this.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Ooh, that's a huge plunge.
I mean, I agree with it. If you lose to an unranked team and you're supposed to be, one of the top 4 schools, you deserve to fall. And I think Clemson kind of got away with a little bit by not falling as far as Georgia did.
Well, Clemson actually dropped a little bit this week as well, because LSU leapfrogged them. LSU dominated Florida in a battle of top 10s, and now they became number 2. Of course, Bama's still number 1. LSU and Bama have to play each other, so
and that was a great game too.
It was.
LSU game was amazing.
And you know what else hurt Clemson? Appy State beat North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Which Appy State is still undefeated, and Appy State is stacked. I mean, if they got every time they play a Division I team, they win.
That's the hell of a franchise. The Appy State's the same Appy State that beat Michigan when Michigan was number 1 in the nation and beat them in week 1 of the season.
Mm-hmm. The only difference is now they're Division I, whereas before they were Division II.
Correct.
That's crazy.
East Tennessee's got a pretty good team too, don't they?
Considering that they've only been back for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. I mean, they got Randy Sanders in there as the coach, which is, I mean, he should never be coaching ETSU. We got lucky that it's where he lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, but yeah, they're doing really good. I think after their second year competing, they won the conference. So,
did they lose their football team?
Yeah, like I guess my senior year of college, they took away the football program, saying that they voted that the students didn't want to pay for the football team or some bullshit. And it's been gone until like 2 years ago. They brought it back.
Wow.
And they were good whenever they got. It's not like they sucked. They were always competing toward the top of the conference, but they just like overnight, just the football team vanished.
When I was at Gardner-Webb, we had a lot of guys that transferred from ETSU to Gardner-Webb because they lost a place to play.
Mm-hmm. It's wild. I don't know how it worked. A lot of my friends played at ETSU, and I don't know, just like the whole reasoning behind it. It seems like as soon as they went away, they spent like the next 8 years trying to get it back. Like, I just don't understand the purpose of it.
Yeah.
But it is back now, and it's doing well, and that's awesome. Have you gone to any of the games?
No, I went by there when they were playing and kind of like parked at the top there and hung out. But they've got like a nice new stadium. It's not at the Mini Dome no more.
Mm-hmm.
They got a really nice stadium, and I mean, the whole ETSU complex over there is just blown up. It's really nice. Definitely not the same when I went. When I went, I think the CPA had a few weights, and that's it. Now they've got like 5 or 6 basketball courts, a rock climbing wall.
Right. Now it's a fitness center.
Yeah, now it's like a full-on, facility.
Yep. But, we're talking about Tennessee. The biggest news from Saturday is, boys, Tennessee is back.
I don't know. We play Bama this week. Let's not say back.
Hey,
you got to build the confidence up.
You heard it here first. When you flip on ESPN on Saturday morning during the first half of the Tennessee Bama game, and it's only a one score differential between the two, you'll know that Tennessee's hanging with them. Just forget about the second half, because that's whenever Tennessee will get blown out. But
Yeah. Tennessee always hangs with Bama, though. That's weird.
it's just like South Carolina and Georgia. SEC teams are built for one another.
Yeah.
And some teams just have that competitive edge. Like South Carolina always plays up against Georgia. They share that huge border. They're, cross state rivals or whatever. And it's a bloodbath when they meet. It's always a physical game, and defense usually wins out. Same thing with Tennessee Bama. That's like 100-plus-year-old rivalry where you don't want to give an inch. These are schools that come from the people that brought you the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Yeah. Hey, Tennessee's defense was legit, bro. They had 7 sacks. It got to the point where, like, when JG came in for the injured for Meyer.
Oh God, he got destroyed.
Yeah,
on his neck. He destroyed himself, really. But
he did that on his own, yeah. But they didn't let JG pass it. It'd be 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, and Pruitt would just run another run play because the defense was playing that good that he was relying on that defense to win that game, and they did.
Well, that's the same MO that Bill Belichick uses with New England whenever the offense struggles. Rely on the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems to be a fading concept in football, especially in the NFL. It's like everything is centered around offense these days.
Yeah. Chicks dig the long ball, man. It's that mentality.
Yeah.
So Tennessee has left on the schedule Bama, which is probably a loss. South Carolina, which I know they're coming off of beating Georgia, but that's a game that's up in the air. UAB is a game they should win. Kentucky is a game they should win. Missouri is a game they should win. And Vandy is a tough game at the end of the season that they could possibly win. If they win 4 more games, they're bowl eligible.
Yeah, we could pull off the miracle. It's crazy to even be talking that way, considering we've only won 2 and we got beat by Georgia State, but it's definitely a possibility.
You have to play up when the time is right. And it seems like the team has gotten a little bit better as the season has progressed.
Yeah, they're playing with more heart. Like you saw in those first few games, the defense wasn't getting lined up in time. They were walking around. It just seemed like the effort wasn't there. In this last game, and I called it the orange pants. They got those orange pants for the first time. And I don't know if you noticed that, but in the video, like all of them were so hype over just something as simple as orange pants. And just like when we used to wear all black versus South Carolina on Halloween.
Yep. No, you get up whenever you get to wear that special uni.
Yeah, and they took away the all black, and ever since they did, we hadn't really competed.
They need to bring it back in black.
That's what I'm saying. Or the gray. The gray was bad too.
Yeah, I like the gray a lot too. That was a pretty slick uniform. They've had some good ones throughout the years, but they've had some stinkers too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then we had the upsets on Sunday. Where do you want to begin for Sunday, Zach?
I guess we can start shitting on the Chiefs again because that team lost yet again. You said something. Mahomes was like 40% accurate or whatever that stat was.
No, he was a little over 50%. I don't know the exact numbers. I didn't plan it, but he was like 19 of 35 or something, 36, somewhere in that ballpark, and just a mediocre average day.
Yeah,
nothing spectacular. He threw 3 touchdowns, but 2 of them were because of Tyreek Hill's ability to catch the ball and make a play on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're tearing apart at the seams. I guess it's a strange thing to watch. And I guess it comes back to what we've been harping on is defenses can read him now, and they know how to play against him, and they know how to shut him down. And once you do that, he has no more tricks left in his sleeve.
Well, and pretty much since the Lions game, the Chiefs haven't really clicked offensively. It's almost as if the Lions figured out some sort of defensive scheme against him, and everyone else has just kind of emulated that or piggybacked off of that.
Yeah. I think they desperately need a running back, because when
that opens up a lot.
Yeah, when you're relying on a quarterback to make a throw damn near every play, they never have to stack the box. They can always go 3 linemen, and they can always have extra DBs. So then they have more coverage. And then even with Tyreek Hill back, they can shut him down. So
yeah, and if you shut down the Kansas City offense, you can easily win the game, because the Kansas City defense is terrible.
Yeah, they have zero defense.
They gave up like 500 yards to the Texans.
Yeah, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. You see what I did against Zach? I took the Washington Redskins defense out of free agency. They put up 15 for me.
Man, I need to do something with my defense. I've got the Rams defense, and they have sucked it up.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be good. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, Aaron Donald is getting all that money.
Yeah.
Right? He's doing good. He's the only bright spot on that team.
Yeah. Well,
but even that's not enough to help out the fantasy squad, because they're giving up 53 fucking points and shit like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It kills me. It kills me. But Justin, I know one of the upsets that you want to talk about is last night when the Jets beat the fucking Cowboys.
I know. I mean, what's funny about this is my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law are flying to Dallas next week to watch them play the Eagles and all this shit. And I told them, I said, y'all should wait and get tickets closer to the game. You'll get them cheap. No, we're on a winning streak now. Dallas fans are. No, we're good this year. It's our year. We got to get them now.
And now they've lost 3 in a row and the sky is falling.
Should have waited. I hope y'all have fun on your trip. Fuck Dallas. I love Jason, man, but I could care less about the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys are always a laughingstock, and losing to the Jets was just a cherry on top. I mean,
Yeah.
Come on. And, I guess to the Jets' credit, they're not that terrible, especially with Sam Darnold back.
When I think of the Jets, I still think butt fumble, even though he's not there anymore. Like, that's still in my brain.
The Jets have been miserable for a decade and a half, easy.
Oh, yeah.
But they are much improved. They're nothing to sneeze at. They would have a much, much better record had Sam Darnold been there all season long.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they lost him for 4 weeks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Simeon get hurt and had a third-string quarterback playing against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Like, what chance did he really have? Not much. Le'Veon Bell had to try to play 3 positions.
I can't say shit.
That's another
terrible.
reason my fantasy team has sucked.
Yeah. All but shut down Le'Veon Bell.
I
They
told
shut
you
down
about
Le'Veon,
him.
shut down James Conner because Big Ben went out, so they've shut down that whole fucking offense. Like, I knew whenever both of the starting quarterbacks for my running backs got hurt, I was like, that derails my entire season.
Yeah. Lesson learned, kids. If you have a star running back and also a star quarterback, and the quarterback goes down, defenses really only have one job after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But oh well. I'll rebound. I'll still make the playoffs and try to shake things up and make it interesting, because I'll be about a 500 team.
I'm about to take Zach out tonight.
Yep. You've got 3 players left.
Oh Lord.
I think he only needs 10, 12 points.
Oh God, yeah. Say your prayers, whatever, Zach, but you might as well go ahead and throw in the towel.
Yeah.
But I know, I tell you who sucks is my Falcons. My Falcons are absolutely fucking horrid. At this point, I want us to lose out and get a top 2 pick. I mean, Jesus Christ. Matt Bryant has been one of the best kickers for like 20 years, up there with Gostkowski and Vinatieri. Matt Bryant's the guy you can always count on, and that's twice this year he shanked a fucking extra point to cost us a game.
Extra point. How far are those now? 15 yards?
35 yards.
I mean, that's damn near a given for a professional kicker.
Obviously not, because they're missing them left and right.
Yeah. They really are.
Pun intended.
I don't get it, man. Out of all the kickers, though, Matt Bryant, dude, come on.
I mean, Gostkowski for the Pats has missed a record extra point attempts this year. You know, he's also been put on the injured list and not competing now. That's what led to the Pats picking up some Nugent, something like that.
Oh, yeah, Nugent,
yeah. Some kid that's been bounced around and, you know, didn't make it on teams because he wasn't good enough. Now he gets another shot.
Now he'll be a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, probably.
Get a fucking ring. You know, he's been around for a while, though. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember him back from, like, what was it, Nebraska or one of those Midwestern colleges.
He played for the Bears, too.
That's right. He was one of the many woeful kickers that went through Chicago's kicking systems.
Yeah, fuck a kicker, man. I love you, Jackson, but fuck a kicker.
Man.
Hey, can we talk about like the set of balls the Cleveland Browns coach has?
Sure.
Yeah, let us know.
I would love to hear your take on his balls.
I'm completely out of the loop on this. I didn't catch a single second of the Browns.
Okay. Well, the Browns lost, right? But it was nothing to do with coaching. This motherfucker, dude, had a 4th and 7 twice, like at the 50 or something, or what? Even at the 50, like on the 30, and he goes for it twice in a row. It makes it twice, and then, dude, like his play calling, it's almost like he knew he was about to get fired. So it was almost like me playing Madden, like fuck punting, 4th and 40, I'm going for it. And this son-of-a-bitch got every single one of them, dude. Every crazy-ass call he made, he got.
That's awesome. Good for him.
He looked like a genius, you know what I mean? But they blew a huge lead out. You know, they were up a couple scores, and then all of a sudden, the running back fumbled twice. It hit the receiver in the hands once, and he popped it up in the air, and they intercepted it. I mean, the Browns themselves during that game to lose it. But that coach, man, his nuts had to be dragging the ground when he left that field. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, to quote Baker, he woke up feeling dangerous today.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I mentioned Baker. He's not been that impressive.
No.
I think that the hype train was way too high for him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, when not he himself, but when the Browns won 7 games last year and everyone was like, Baker Mayfield is the thing. And then here we are with one of the best wide receivers in the league and a good running back, and they can't do shit. And
I mean, maybe the Giants were onto something with Odell.
It could be.
They said that he was a problem in the locker room. He was a cancer in the locker room. He left New York. New York's actually doing pretty decent, all things considered. They've got Daniel Jones behind center, and they were winning games.
Yeah, Odell is the type to have that diva mentality. So,
you know, I was watching it for a fantasy aspect because I had OBJ, and you have Landry.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Landry caught 2 passes on the 1-yard line and got stopped on both of them.
Jeez.
I was watching it, and I was like, how in the fuck? Both times he caught it on the 1 and got stopped twice.
You can't.
And he didn't even have any effort. He didn't even try.
I hate that. You can't just try and leap over or do something.
That's just the kind of luck that, you know, Zach's had in fantasy for the past few years. It makes sense that it would rear its head every now and then still.
Yeah. That's what happens when you win back-to-back championships. For the rest of your fantasy career, you get shit on.
Yep.
In my big money league, I was beating the kid by 20 points, and all he had left was Hunter Henry. Right.
and he went the fuck off.
Yeah, and I was like, I went to bed. I was like, oh, I got this shit easily. I won this week. And then I woke up and had 2 touchdowns, like 100 yards. Like, what the hell? Hunter Henry. Yeah, he got 22 points.
That's crazy. We have to talk about Christian McCaffrey as well, because if you remember,
He's good.
yeah, he can play football. If you remember when Brandon blindsided me with my MVP pick, I just for whatever reason spouted out Christian McCaffrey, and then I sat on it and thought on it, and I was like, wait a second, they're never going to give it to a running back, much less on the Panthers, who aren't going to do much this year. So I said Lamar Jackson, and he's fallen off. But God
Told
damn,
you.
Christian McCaffrey has made a name for himself this year and put the Panthers on his back.
Yeah,
He sure has.
He's a human controller, man.
He's the one that I'm putting into the MVP conversation ahead of Russell Wilson, which is the other guy that I hear a lot of people mentioning. He's having a stellar season, but when's the last time you saw a running back dominating the way that he is?
Yep. Yeah, it's been forever.
With a rookie quarterback, like the thing that happened to me where my quarterbacks got injured, Big Ben and Sam Darnold, the same thing happened in Carolina. Cam Newton's no longer there. The star quarterback is no longer there. You got a rookie quarterback. But this running back, Christian McCaffrey, is, like you said, he put the team on his back and he is taking over. He's dominating football games. That's what an MVP does.
Yeah. Did you see the highlight of him fucking around with a football, and he would like let it go and put his hand all the way around the football and grab it. He's something else.
Yeah, soccer players have been doing that for decades with their feet.
Sure.
But you said Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson fucking blew up this weekend.
Did he?
He went ape shit. Yeah, he did really good.
Yeah, I think he'll do well throughout this season. And it's hard to say whether he'll end up in the MVP talks at the end of it all, but I think he'll do well.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be MVP, but I think he'll be the quarterback for years to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he's a good mix of mobile and a good passer, which is going to help him a lot. Kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit. Like he needs to, but he can drop back and pass as well. He doesn't just solely rely on his legs.
Yeah. And if Hollywood Brown is anything like his cousin is on the field, then they've got a pretty good combo for years to come.
Yeah. And he's a rookie, so he has room to grow as well.
Oh yeah.
So when Jameis Winston was drafted, everyone kind of thought that was going to be his path, like the Lamar Jackson path, where he's fast, he can elude tackles, but he can still throw the ball. Well, he might be fast and able to elude some tackles, but he sure as fuck cannot throw a ball because he threw 5 interceptions in London this week.
God.
Yeah,
he fumbled twice. Lost one of them.
He's
not a very good stat line.
Nope.
I wonder how many points he put up in fantasy. I bet that's got to be a negative stat line.
Probably negative.
Yeah, no shit.
I think I feel fucking Matt Ryan threw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and still fucking lost. I mean, how the hell is that possible?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Hell, at this
that's
point,
pretty bad.
Jesus Christ, dude. But yeah, he's never been good. He ain't been good for a few years. I don't understand why everybody always hypes him up at the beginning of the year and act like this is his year for Winston. But he's never, not even once, impressed me to say that he's the starting quarterback.
No, and he has all-pro wide receiver talent in Mike Evans there.
Yes.
Mike Evans is the man that made Johnny Manziel look good.
In our PPR league, Winston got 12 points.
No, so
400 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, because he still had to throw the ball the entire game, which is why he had 5 picks. But
yeah, speaking of Mike Evans, if I'm Mike Evans, and I'm assuming he's got a contract that's going to be up soon, I'm getting the fuck out of Tampa.
Yeah, and that's one guy that you don't hear complaining.
Mhm.
For what it's worth, he hasn't bitched about his situation at all that I've heard. Good on him. I hope he gets a big contract somewhere.
If I'm Dallas and I can't keep Amari Cooper, I've got my eyes set on a Mike Evans. I don't know if you could pay him. If you can't pay Amari Cooper, I don't know if you could pay Mike Evans. But I think Mike Evans should end up at a contending football team because he's a wasted talent in Tampa.
Hell, the Patriots will take him. They fucking end up with everybody. Everybody that's a free agent, like the next day I see him in a Patriots uniform. I'm like, fuck Brandon.
I mean, why wouldn't they want to go there?
Well,
Proven track record that it's a winning organization. The players seemingly get treated well and get the full backing of the organization instead of getting, in tissies with members of the staff or members of the front office and shit like that, like a lot of these teams do. Fuck. If I'm searching for an employer, I'm going to go to the place that offers the best benefits.
Right.
I'm not going to go to the shithole place that sucks just because I want to fucking, I don't know, hang out with some roughneck.
Yeah. Or if they offer you a giant contract, with all the money that you want, I would definitely be willing to sacrifice money to play with the Patriots or any other Super Bowl contending team.
I would too. Like if I'm a football player and I'm looking around and I've got open contracts to the Patriots, the Saints, hell, maybe even the 49ers, they're looking pretty damn good.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I wrote them off after week 3 as being a flash in the pan, but they're sticking around.
They're still flashing.
Or any other winning franchise, a good team. Hell, even the Cowboys. I might take that deal because they do have a decent team if they could just pull their heads out of their asses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking it.
Yep. I'll take $15 million for 5 years or something if I get to play on a good team.
Yeah, over $20 million to go play in Miami and suck it up for 6 years.
Exactly.
Speaking of the 49ers, I still personally feel like they haven't really had that tough of a schedule yet. Green Bay's defense has been killing it lately. And after that first week when they basically didn't do shit, Green Bay's been balling, man. Their defenses look better than it's ever looked. And they've got a game coming up. I think it's either this week or next. Green Bay versus 49ers. And whoever wins that game, I think will be the team in the NFC. Because I personally don't think the Jets have played anybody. I think Green Bay will show how suspect they really are.
Well, Packers play the Lions on Monday Night Football tonight, and that's going to be a challenge too. The Lions are a tough squad. Like we mentioned earlier, they were the ones that really tested the Chiefs before the Chiefs went on this little 2-game skid that they're on.
Yeah, Kieran Johnson, and I got the receiver too. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now, but they're both balling out. They get me 20, 25 points every week. Matthew Stafford, he ain't doing much. I mean, he's mediocre.
He's doing enough.
He never puts them. He never causes them to lose. He always keeps them in the game, and he's just a starting quarterback. I mean, I don't see him either way. I would like to have him on my team. I wouldn't mind it over a lot of these quarterbacks. Now, granted, I'd rather have a Russell Wilson or a Tom Brady or Matt Ryan, but I'm not going to turn down Matthew Stafford. But he's just that guy. He's tough and keeps him in the game.
Are you talking about Kenny Golladay?
Yeah, Galladay's who I was talking about. Galladay's been blowing it up. If you look at his past few weeks, he's got 15, 24, 20, 19.
Yep. Yeah, he's averaged 16.8. So that's damn good average.
I got him in the 8th round.
Yeah, I wish I would have taken him. Wish I had anybody. My team sucks. All season long, I'm just gonna dog on my team because it's been terrible. It's like every week I'm like, all right, I'm projected to win, and then I lose by 30. And then the next week I'm projected to win, and then I lose by 27. Motherfuck. It's like I'm always projected to at least be competitive, but they never perform.
Yep.
Oh well. I had like 1 or 2 weeks whenever I had like enough people do their fucking job to win, but whatever.
It's frustrating. I understand.
It is. It's like winning the NLDS and then getting, 2-0 right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. That is a shit feeling.
Yeah. Especially on the heels of 2 back-to-back no-hit bids late into ball games. What was it? Sanchez took the no-hitter to the 8th.
Yep.
And then Sanchez or Max
Verlander.
Yeah, Max Scherzer went to the 7th.
Verlander.
7th with no hit. Yeah, Verlander is the
Astros.
We'll get to him later.
He did go, I think 7, but yeah, that's the wrong championship series.
Yeah, we'll get to him later. But yeah, it was Scherzer that went into the 7th against the Cardinals, no hit. Man, not taking anything away from those 2 brilliant performances, but what's up with the bats?
Yeah, they went ice cold at the exact wrong time.
Yeah.
I wish we could have saved a couple of those runs that we got in the first inning against Atlanta for now.
Yeah.
We really need them. I mean, when you don't put up anything, there's no way you can win. Like, you have to at least score 1 run to win. You know what I mean? Like, it's just as simple as that. And when the starting pitchers go that long, and then I believe they only had Doolittle for that first game, so it was Sanchez who went off, and then Doolittle closed it out. I mean, they made a mockery of the Cardinals hitters, and it's not going to get any easier, which is kind of scary.
No, because you still have Corbin and Strasburg when you get to DC starting tonight, right?
Yeah, tonight. Flaherty is pitching tonight. So, I mean, I'm still hopeful, but the window is closing,
I'm sure they'll tell the fans all of the stats of the number of teams that have come back from 2-0 deficits and all that stuff. But I know there's only one that's come back from 3-0. So tonight is a must-win for the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, to the Nationals' credit, they have torn it up in the postseason. I mean, I don't think anyone thought that Sanchez would do as well as he did. But I think it goes to show you that experience and being a veteran really pays off when the bright lights are on and everyone's watching you. The younger guys kind of struggle, but the older guys who've been there and know what to do can really put it on, and he sure as shit did.
It's so funny that it's, since age 16, Bryce Harper has been touted as the next big thing in baseball. The LeBron James of baseball, they've called him.
Yep.
He's the greatest of all time that's yet to come. And then the year after, he leaves the Washington Nationals and goes off to greener financial pastures. The Washington Nationals are 2 games away from the World Series.
Mm-hmm. That's what he gets. Fuck him, crybaby.
That is a hilarious slap in the face to Bryce Harper.
I just can't help but to smile. And it couldn't happen to a nicer fan base, the Philadelphia Phillies, just to inherit that nightmare. Because this guy sucks. Bryce Harper, I've said it before, he's an average outfielder.
Yep.
He's not exceptional. The only place where he's good is at batting. And he can hit home runs and he drives in some RBIs. But obviously, and this is talking from a 7-year sample size, obviously it's not good enough to win the big one.
Yep. he either hits a home run or strikes out, and that's it. That's all he has going for him. So if that's all you bring to the table and you're supposed to be the greatest player ever, I have my doubts. At least when we talk about Mike Trout, he hasn't won either, but he doesn't have a fault in his game. So
No. See, Mike Trout is a well above average outfielder. He's going to go and rob home runs. He's going to make diving catches in the outfield. He's taking runs off of the board from the other team because of his defense.
mm-hmm. He can gun people down.
He can gun people down. He's got a cannon in center field. Harper's not bringing that same thing to the table. So it is what it is. But no, they paid him, so they're the ones that have to eat it now. And kudos to the Nationals for bringing it to the Cardinals, because they said, hey, the Cardinals they're riding high off of knocking out the Braves, but you know what? We knocked out the fucking Dodgers.
Yep.
We're riding high too, and we're gonna go in St. Louis and we're gonna show them what we can do. Our last reserve pitcher is gonna go out there and shove 8 innings down their throat.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a crazy thing to witness.
It's a good thing that we had that special episode so we can come and talk about how happy we were that the St. Louis Cardinals had won a game.
yeah, that was a good idea for sure.
Otherwise, it would have just been shitting on them the whole time and not even celebrating the fact that they did advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, no kidding. But, I mean, even though the Cardinals are down 0-2, in the ALCS, we actually have a series going. Yankees picked up game 1, I believe. Or was it Houston picked up game 1?
Nope. You were right. The Yankees got game 1, took home field advantage.
Yep.
And then the Astros won last night on a walk-off in the 11th by Correa.
Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah, and like I said earlier, Verlander went 7, I believe. And I think he might have gotten 1 hit or maybe a walk. I think he walked Judge.
Yeah, he pitched a brilliant game. They needed it after game 1 because they got shellacked.
Yeah, 7-0, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and it was Greinke that got touched for a lot of it. So that big acquisition didn't really pay off for him in the first game of the CS, but he'll get the ball again.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting series. Do you know who's up next to pitch for the Astros?
Cole.
Yeah. So we know what he's like.
I think it's Cole and Severino for the Yanks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that's a great series over there.
Yeah, and going back to New York or going to New York for the first time, and the Mickey Mouse dimensions of that park certainly makes for a lot of home runs to right field. And that's something that, the Cardinals have been complaining that the ball isn't traveling as far. They'll still fly out of Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I noticed it, too, at Minute Maid in Houston. I saw a lot of warning track balls, like a lot. So I don't know if there's something to that, but like you said, the Cardinals have at least noticed that there's a difference.
Yeah, and I think they said there's up to 5 feet on average. The ball is flying less than it did in the regular season, and we're talking regular season that set home run records across the board, the most home runs in league history ever.
Yep, Pete Alonso set the record for most home runs by a rookie.
Yep,
so.
Almost damn near every team set personal best for home runs, personal team bests.
Yep.
It's a wild year. Teams hitting over 300 bombs. That's insane.
Yeah, the Twins.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do you think the cold weather has at least a little bit to do with that? The ball be tighter or something?
I do. The ball always travels a little less in cold weather. I guess you can look at it from the molecules, the kinetic energy. They're moving less
Right.
So it's not going to have as much friction. So it's not going to have the impact and the bang. So
Yeah. Because
it makes sense.
I know for game 1 here in St. Louis, it was like 44 degrees for the first pitch. So yeah, that's significantly colder than the regular season was.
Yeah, but also in colder games, pitchers a lot of times have more issues to stay warm, and that usually leads to getting more base hits, more walks, and stuff like that. And obviously, we had 2 guys on back-to-back nights no hit a team for the majority of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have a problem staying warm in the cold weather.
Yep. Yeah, it's an intriguing theory. Just like same as the rest of the year for me. There's probably something going on with the ball, but that's also mixed with other stuff to create this scenario that we have. I mean, if the guys that are playing are saying something, I mean, I just have to take their word for it. I haven't touched an MLB ball, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from people all season long saying that things are different. Something's up, something's not right. I don't know.
Yep.
We got to take their word for it because they're the ones that, like you say, they are touching the balls every single day.
Yep. But it would be a shame if that altered the postseason, because I think I don't know. I don't know what the MLB was going for if they're going to change the ball back in the middle of the postseason. You know, you've got
it doesn't make sense.
You've got these juiced balls, and they're getting all these homers, which I'm assuming from the MLB standpoint is trying to get people excited for baseball because people love watching home runs. Like you said, chicks dig the long ball. So why would you change that now in the postseason, which is where more people tune into baseball?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense what you were saying with the weather impacting it being colder. I think we saw an adequate amount of home runs in the ALCS. Game 1, we saw home runs from Torres, Stanton, and Urshela. Game 2, we saw home runs from Judge and Correa. So that's 5 home runs in 2 games.
Yeah.
2.5 per game, if you will.
Right.
What's weird is the 300-plus home run Twins couldn't get a fucking hit to save their lives in their series with the Yankees.
Yeah.
They got swept right off the board like they didn't even matter. So,
yeah, that is very, very strange.
But I don't know. Maybe, when they play in a dome in Minnesota, but they would have played 2 games in New York, I guess. I don't know what the weather was in New York. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But stands to reason that it might be colder because it is October. Did you guys hear about the boxer involved in the car accident?
Yes.
Yeah. He wasn't just a boxer. He's one of the fucking greatest boxers of all time.
You can go ahead and elaborate on it, Justin. You probably know more about it than I would.
Well, basically, he was driving home. From what I've heard, he was driving home and something happened and he started swerving, which he was in a Lambo. So he was going,
Not slow.
yeah, like flying. Hold on 1 second. And they've heard recently that he's actually going to be fine. Minor issues. I think there's something like wrong with his chin. But he'll be able to fight. He's not done fighting. He's good. Thank God. And they said the thing that really saved him was he didn't have on the seatbelt. Because if he would have had on his seatbelt, you saw the Lambo in that picture, it was crushed. He'd have been crushed to death. But he got flown out of the car. So believe it or not, that saved his life.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and he just got done fighting Porter for one of the title belts. Spence. His name's Spence. I don't know what his first name. Errol Spence, I think. Anyways, he just got done fighting Porter and won. So he's right now the pound for pound champion in that division. And I want to say they're welterweight, maybe. maybe Cruiser. I'm not exactly sure, but kid's an insane fighter, and the fact that he could have been paralyzed or had that taken away from him is crazy because he was 27-0.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't know that he was that well known or whatever. I saw the article and I shared it to Sportszilla because I figured, there are a lot of fight fans in the group. Some of you might really be interested in that, but that's a major deal. You hear about that every now and then where people are like, yeah, I don't wear seatbelts because I know somebody that not wearing a seatbelt saved their lives. But that's a very dangerous thing to kind of celebrate because more seatbelts save lives than vice versa.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
go ahead.
in this guy's case, what would have saved him is driving responsibly.
Yes. Don't put it on, oh, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so that saved his life. He was still causing the unsafe motion or the movement by us. We're assuming that he was driving at a reckless speed.
Yeah. He just so happened to get lucky and get thrown out of a car that was getting crushed due to erratic driving or, whatever ended up happening.
Yeah.
And that's not even the big story going on right now. Spence is the biggest name, but I don't know if you heard about the boxer that was recently knocked out and he's fighting for his life right now.
Yeah.
His name was Patrick Day. He's from New York. He won every Golden Glove event, basically everything New York ever had as an amateur. He was in the Olympics in '96. He retired, and they talked him into having this one last fight just a few days later to fill in. Well, basically, he was getting the shit kicked out of him. The coach should have stopped it in like round 6. The ref let it go all the way to round 10 where he was knocked out. And now they're saying he's like a 99% chance he's not going to make it. So this will be the 5th fighter that has died this year from boxing.
Jesus. If I remember the story correctly, he got knocked out and then never got back up, right?
Yeah.
And he obviously carted off and everything.
He got dazed a couple times early. Like the coach should have called the fight. The ref should have called the fight. But he went back out there and then he got knocked out and he just never, that was it.
Yeah. Brandon, if you remember, Adam from Vida Ballesta was texting back and forth with us asking whether we think boxing or MMA is more dangerous. That's what he was alluding to was this guy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I remember that conversation that we were having in the text. I didn't know what prompted it.
Yeah.
But I've long thought that MMA is the safer of the two because of the ref stoppage. In boxing, you can get flash knocked out several times, and as long as you can beat the count, you can continue fighting. In MMA, you get that flash knockout one time, and the ref is stopping the fight. You don't get that sustained, prolonged head trauma and the repeated pounding.
Yep. If you lose the ability to protect yourself, the ref will stop the fight in MMA. So you don't even have to be knocked out. But if your hands are down and you're getting pummeled and the ref thinks that you can't protect yourself anymore, then it's over. We've seen that many a time where people think it's an early stoppage and stuff like that. But that's to protect these fighters, And
it's not only that. MMA, the ref is like right on top of the fighters. In boxing, the ref's kind of moving around, staying back. So he can't tell when these fighters are dazed. Like they got their hands up over their eyes. You can't tell what they're seeing. I mean, there's a lot of shit that goes on. And like I know fighters that have been basically knocked out, but still fought 2-3 rounds. They've just trained that way. They know how to stay on their feet and kind of play defense so they get their head back to them. You know what I mean? But on a brighter note, my sister's best friend, Jonathan Pierce, JSP, the one that was on Contender that won, he's got his big fight this weekend, his first huge test in Boston. He's fighting Joe Lauzon.
Oh, that is a big fight. I heard the guys on Locker Room Talk mentioning that, and I don't think they really knew who your boy was, but
oh wow,
JSP, you said, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Pierce.
Nice.
John City boy. He moved out to the lab I want to say in Colorado about 6 months ago. And that's why he got on the Contender, because around here, I mean, he got him in Primetime. Primetime's making $20,000-$30,000 a fight, traveling the world, going to Russia, Japan. But it's JSP's dream to be in the UFC. That's all he wanted. So he did the right thing by getting the hell out of here and going to one of the top-notch camps. You know, he won his fight in the Contender, and now his second fight, he's fighting Joe Lozon, or Lazon. I can't say it right.
Yeah, I think you were saying it right. Joe Lozon.
But he said, they interviewed him, and he said, I can't wait to knock out Joe Lozon and go hunting in John City. I said, dang, that's awful confident. Yeah, look it up there. You'll see him, Jonathan Pierce.
Yeah, I see it right now. 7-3, 27-year-old, 6 foot tall. He's got a 71-inch reach advantage, or 71-inch reach. Joe's got 71.3, so they're pretty even. But
I'll tell you what, Jonathan's got. He's got a motor like anybody I've ever seen.
But you know what Joe Lozon brings to the table, right?
Like 40 fights.
Well, that, and he's from Brockton, Massachusetts.
Yeah, they said he's got the most cash wins up there with Nick Diaz, or the most bonuses. It'll be a good fight.
Well, what I'm saying is he's got a hometown crowd.
Yeah.
He's fighting in Boston. Brockton's like 30 minutes south.
Yeah, well, you know, they ain't going to let JSP be in his second fight. He's going to have to go. That's just part of it.
Yeah, no, I know. It's not like they're bringing it to Johnson City anytime soon.
No, never. But the good thing about that fight is if he's competitive, even if he loses against Lozon, if he's competitive, that'll still move him up in UFC.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That'll be one to watch. We'll have to keep up with him and keep tabs on him because that's pretty cool that he's doing what he's doing.
Well, as long as he wins, he's coming in town like I think a week or two following. I'm going to get him on the podcast because he can be at my sister's or somewhere where he can get on the internet. Because like I said, he don't know shit about that stuff. He's not like Adam. Adam's like big on the internet. JSP, all he fucking knows is fighting. I've seen the kid run like 8 miles barefooted. He don't wear shoes when he runs. He goes outside barefooted, snow, rain, fucking on rocks. It's fucking crazy. Man,
some people are just wired differently, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some people want all the highest, highest caliber training equipment, the best facilities, stuff like that. Other people, they just want mud, stones, iron. Yeah.
Well, whenever I heard that he was fighting in Boston, my sister tried to get me to go. She said she'd pay for everything, blah, blah, whatever. Which, man, I got college and sports. I ain't got time to go to that shit. And I figured he was fighting like another like up and comer. You know what I mean?
No, he's fighting a known guy.
Yeah. And then when I read who it was, I was like, man, that sounds awful fucking familiar. And then I looked it up and I was like, holy shit. Like he's fighting like a dude, like one of the top UFC dudes.
The good thing is Joe's a little bit older now. I think he's mid-30s.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a while. He's had a couple big fights. And this is the type of fight that you could make your name on because Joe's on his way out. He's not going to ever be at the top of the mountain now, So this is like a stepping stone fight, especially if you can go into his hometown and do it. That's pretty big.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I hope he pulls it out. That'd be crazy.
Normally on this podcast, I cheer for the Boston guys, but I think I'll make an exception here.
I pulled for the John City guy. And I saw you drinking that Dr. Enough. I was going to bring this to your attention, Zach.
Uh-oh.
Would you rather have that pizza one day when you want one, or would you rather me send you some real Dr. Enough in the mail?
Wow.
Whoa.
Quite a deal.
Because that'll be probably around the same price.
No shit.
I don't know. How many are you talking?
Like a 6-pack of the minis. It probably costs about $10 or so to ship it.
Oh yeah, the minis probably. That'd be about fair. That's what I had right here.
Yeah. You ain't gonna get the real ones at Crackle Barrel.
Absolutely not. I'll have to think on that. That's a good deal.
It's up to you, man.
I'll get back to you.
I saw him drinking that, and I was like, I heard you talking about Crackle Barrel, and that's definitely not the same.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I've tried a Cracker Barrel Dr. Enough before I had the real one, and I was like, I mean, this is an alright soda, but the real deal from Tennessee is much better. You can tell,
yeah.
you can taste the freshness in it of the vitamins and shit.
Because it's made right up the street.
Yeah. You ever see that old episode of Futurama where Fry is addicted to drinking Slurm?
Yeah, I have actually.
And they find out that the Slurm is made from some like space monster, like fat queen thing that just basically shits it out into a can.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Enough.
Yeah. And see, I can't drink it no more, so it'll kind of give me like a feeling of accomplishment by going to buy some.
Can you drink at once?
Well, I'm just afraid to, man. I haven't had one since I had that surgery, and I used to drink like 2 to 3 Dr. Enough a day.
Well, I mean, you're definitely better off by not drinking them.
But damn,
Sadly,
they're so good.
this was my very last one.
Oh shit!
And I savored it with you gentlemen here on the Nest podcast.
I feel honored.
The best way to drink them is to like get them freezing freaking cold, and then you have to open it and drink it immediately for that like the best.
That cold to hit you in the back of the throat like that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Dr. Enough is delicious. If you're in Johnson City, you should go get one right now because they're always available to you.
Yeah,
Lucky assholes.
Or lose a bet to me, and I'll send them your way.
Yeah, that's my only chance to get some right now. So, Justin, whenever we play in fantasy, we might have to talk.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Anyway, that's all the shit I've got to talk about. You guys got anything else?
I'm good.
I'm good. Just let me know, Zach, and I'll do whatever you want, buddy.
Yep, that sounds good.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We hope you enjoyed. Please go out, tell your friends, call us, leave us voicemails. We'll play them on the air. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. This coming Wednesday, we are going to be dropping a special midweek episode. Zach and I had Ian from Growing Up 8-Bit sit down with us on Saturday and had a little conversation. We're going to drop that episode in the middle of the week, kind of give you time to digest all of the episodes that we're throwing at you here lately. Yeah, so look forward to that, and we will be right back here next Monday night. Peace.
Stay connected with Brandon and Zach on Facebook and Instagram at the Nest Podcast. And tune in next week for a brand new episode. And thanks for listening.